Today we're going to talk about how social media can be used in a crisis situation. It's a fantastic tool for this in particular. I'll start with a quote by Fritz Kugel. Kunkel, I think is his name. He's a social scientist, and he said, "To be mature means to face and not evade every fresh crisis that comes." You know the saying that it's not if a crisis will happen, but when. And you're never going to be fully prepared for it. A lot of communication professionals are faced with major or minor crises during their career. And whatever training we've received, we're never going to be fully prepared to deal with all the eventualities that develop during such an event. Nor can we be prepared for all the variables that come into play. We plan for the worst and we do our best with the resources that we have at our disposal. Enter social media. Social media, online communications, in the last 10 years or so, has really evolved from a one-way communication platform to an interactive, fast-paced, two-way social communication system. And this change affects different aspects of crisis communication, which are really important, which are speed, reach, and impact. The very first step for every communicator is the day-to-day monitoring of what's being said about your company's brands, whether you're in crisis mode or not. You need to monitor what's being said about your organization, its executives, its products, its services. So when you're thinking about online communication, just traditional clipping services aren't enough. Services where they just print out stories that you've pitched to the media. It's a 24/7 social online interaction world, and you have to understand the tools and the technologies that can be used to keep a continuous finger on the pulse of online activity. Things like RSS feeds and alerts need to be used. You can search for keywords related to your business, such as the company and their product name, your key executive names, scouting discussions for what we call the suck and die factor. This includes adding a combination of the following criteria in your search process. So your product name plus sucks, or your company name plus sucks, die plus your company name, or I hate your company name. You'd be surprised what that might turn up, and if you can keep your finger on that and monitor it, you just might be able to address some of those situations before they get out of control. For the first time, you really have the ability to identify and address these crises as they surface. And not only do we have the ability to engage with people to address their grievances or their discontent, but we can also learn from each engagement and feed those lessons and criticisms back into the sales, service, product development departments, basically affect change and make the company better. Now, from earthquakes to uprisings, events over the last few years have really made it clear that social media has become firmly established as a real-time communication tool during crises. But the ability to share those moments generates power for users, and as they say, with power becomes responsibility. You definitely want to let family and friends of those who are affected know first. Don't let them hear through the media. You also want to report exactly what you know, be very factual, avoid speculation, avoid what you don't know, and really think before you share. Am I damaging the company to say this? Is this information the public needs to know? In a crisis, everything comes down to timeliness. You want to address the issues promptly. Every day, every hour, every minute you agonize over what to do or ignore the situation altogether is time wasted. Once you figure out what has happened and what some of the emotions are behind it, you want to address these issues or emotions in your responses. Like any good interpersonal communication, start with statements like, "I understand you're frustrated," or "We realize this is a confusing situation." In doing this, you're giving credence and validity to the other party's feelings and perceptions. While those may not be correct, they are valid in that they are what they believe and what they feel. Running through committees, endless drafts, and approval processes to get a response out there can actually cause far more damage than good. As long as you've taken the time to assess the situation and can take a rational, respectful tone in your response, even an awkward response is okay to start with and buys you time to continue to respond to the problem. If you're upset, nervous, worried, shocked, don't be afraid to express that as well. People want to see a human response in a crisis, not an overproduced, formulaic, or canned reply. When there's a crisis, there are people involved. Pretending there are no emotions mixed in the mess is a surefire way to lose credibility with others. Domino's CEO responded pretty quickly and openly. However, check out his response to the crisis. The CEO never once looks at the camera. If you're going to be open and forthcoming in your response, at least look straight at the camera at some point. Even when you're reading from a teleprompter, you can set it up so that your eyes are directed at the camera. Otherwise, you'll look shifty and untrustworthy. So if you get a chance, click on the link and see if you can watch the CEO of Domino's respond to a crisis that company had. Telling your own story through the fixing process is another good way of helping diffuse the issue. Giving updates like, we're still looking into that bug that caused your data loss, and please contact us privately so we can make amends to this situation. That lets anyone paying attention to the situation see something is being done, even if some of it has to happen behind the scenes. Now, although Twitter communications happen in 140 characters, these tweets are easily searchable by Google. Twitter and the many other Twitter applications available can also help you search for some of these. Businesses can be followed on Twitter by anyone, customers, potential customers, and competitors. So it's really important that companies monitor their Twitter mentions of their brands, products, and services so they can respond swiftly to any negative circumstances. YouTube is the most popular video search engine and no doubt the best and fastest way to send out a public announcement when your company needs to make a statement about an ongoing situation. The video that that the link takes you to here is from Southern California Edison, a power company, regarding a power outage that they experienced in the summer of 2015. And in that video, you'll see them explain their social media response, what channels they're on, and how they're using social media to help their customers. If your company has a Facebook page, it's another media outlet to focus on supplying excellent customer response. Now, depending on your page settings, fans can post comments to your page that can be seen by everyone. So it's important to monitor your Facebook page and update it as needed with the latest news and responses to customer comments. Toyota's Facebook page is constantly updated by both Toyota and fans with both praise and complaints alike. Now, because of the volume of comments, Toyota doesn't seem to comment on every status, but that doesn't mean they're not responding at all. It may simply be making more comprehensive responses behind the scenes via private emails. So it's good to see the public responses. That assures people that someone is actively getting into the discussions rather than just posting news updates to the masses. So what are some of the best practices you can take away? Well, social media is very public. Your fans and followers have the right to make negative comments. It's your company's job to turn those negative comments around and defend yourself to change it from a negative to a positive situation. Monitor your business on social media and respond to tweets, mentions, and comments on your company's profiles in a timely manner. Social media is real time, so the faster you respond, the better your customer service will look. If possible, suggest that customers contact you privately to send their email address or phone number so you can have more in-depth discussions with them. Remember that aside from private messaging, anyone can read conversations between you and a customer. If you provide thorough, great customer service, it can go a long way in impressing your customers, increasing their likelihood of giving you positive referrals, and for other followers who are watching the situation unfold, it could be a great first impression that leads to a potential customer.